So instead of going straight into a screen share, I actually have a quick classroom announcement. So if you let me click some buttons real quick and then do this, you should be able to see me on the Zoom room. But you also should be able to see me in person because I have new bathroom passes. They are the entire clipboard that you must take with you when you leave the classroom. You may also notice that the sign-out sheets on the wall have disappeared because they now live on the bathroom passes. So if you need to use the restroom or if you need to go do something in outside of the class, Skyline policy does state that you need to have a pass in hand, unless it's already prearranged with the people who are in charge of the passes, like the security officers or the dean or whatever. So if you're not having an emergency, you must come get a pass from me and I will check it out from you at my desk. So I'm gonna trust that if you're having some type of emergency, that you will go automatically because that's still fine. You will just leave if you need to, but please don't take advantage of my trust in your emergencies in that regard. So bathroom passes live here now. I have a sign out sheet that you will need to take. If there's not any passes available, you will have to wait for one to become available. So if you've got one, don't hang on to it because other students may be waiting for it. So in that regard, we're going to talk a little bit about some financial skills today. It's kind of this unit I've divided into two halves, a credit card sort of half, and then an investing sort of stocks sort of half, which we'll do Thursday, Friday. And then we'll also talk more about, stocks and taxes later this week, and then some investing stuff next week if we've got the time. So what we're focusing on today is credit cards. I've heard a couple of my classes and a couple of folks in here say that they already have one. So this is going to be pretty informational or stuff you maybe have already experienced, but I understand a lot of y'all also have not considered getting a credit card yet. It is one of those things like emailing that you just kind of have to do in a way. Even if you don't plan on ever using it, even if you know maybe you're not the best with money, that was my scenario when I was in high school. Getting a credit card at your age and getting a credit card in an effective way at your age is a great way to start establishing some of your adult credit score, which is stuff we'll get into here in just a second. So if we check your thread for the day, on your thread, I should be screen sharing, right? You can see my screen. Yes. Okay, cool. So regular flex day for Zoom. Regular flex day today. If you're looking at your flex and you can see that I have requested you, that's probably for a future ready interview that you need to make up. So if you can't change your flex, it might be because I requested you for an interview. All right, anyways, we're gonna start today with some videos. They're pretty short videos. I'm gonna play one. I'm gonna ask you guys for your thoughts so we can kind of establish what we learned, what we took away. We're gonna build a little list on my board behind me here. Which you can find these three videos in the modules. So if you go to the modules, there's a new financials credit cards section right here. This is that quiz that the thread mentions. It's not a quiz in a test sort of way. It's a quiz in a specific recommendations kind of way, like a BuzzFeed quiz, right? Not like a history quiz. So we're going to start right here with Credit Cards 101. I want you guys to pay attention to just some stuff that happens in this video, the things that they mention, the things that you've maybe heard before or hadn't heard before, because I'm going to ask at the end what your thoughts were on this video. So credit cards is taking a sec to spin up. Let me do this. All right, credit cards 101. I'm going to give you guys 2-3 minutes to kind of discuss with your nearby neighbors. What were some of your biggest key takeaways from this first video? There was a lot of vocab. There was a lot of things that maybe don't make a lot of sense at this point, but I'm going to take a couple notes on what you guys took away from this video on the board. So 1023, I'll ask Isaac, you have a question? Oh, you want to go? Okay, so we'll start with Isaac. What do you, what's up? Oh, okay. Sounds good. So if you guys want to discuss, or please discuss with your nearby folks, some of the things you took away from this first video. I'll let you raise your hands. I don't want to call on you because I know nobody likes that, myself included. What did you guys notice? What did you hear in the video? What did you take away from it? We could also do some We can come up with a couple definitions. Yeah, Kaden, you have your.
The takeaways, you gotta pay your bills, and if you don't pay your bills, you'll get bad credit.
Yeah, pay bills on time. That's a good one.
And that you won't have any consequences of using credit cards as long as you pay the credit cards.
So that is very true. Consequences, if I can spell that right first try, come from missed payments.
Not from usage.
No, not from usage. Missed, we'll go PMTS for payments. What else did you guys notice? Matthew?
Also have signed your.
Mhm.
Have that.
Cosigner is what that's called, yes. You can have a cosigner on a card. If it's a card you're not exactly qualified for, just like we looked at scholarships, there's different types of qualifications that are going to affect things. Omar, what's up? Mhm. So you want a lower APR, right? Lower interest rate? Yeah. Okay, good. Low APR is good. APR stands for annual percentage rate. It says ARR, which means the percentage that you get charged for using a credit card per year if you don't pay your full bill on time. Low APR is good. We want that. All right, cool. Those are pretty basic. Those are good things to have taken away from this video that I want us to all be in pretty good agreement on, is that paying your bills on time is one of the biggest things for success that you can do with a credit card. The consequences do come from missing the payments, not from using the card. Also from running up a balance, meaning charging a bunch of money to a card that you can't afford to pay off. And then cosigners and low APRs are both options to help you guys build some credit history from the top of from this point in your life. Dylan, do you have a question or are you just stretching? Okay, gotcha. So what we're gonna do now is move on to our second video. Let me switch some stuff around here. Okay. We go to modules. It is this one right here, credit scores and reports, which is going to go into more detail on what a credit score is actually defined as and what the reporting sort of setup is. I will say from just the jump, keeping in mind two things, that credit cards are a little bit designed to be confusing on purpose, because then it's easier for you to make mistakes that they can benefit from. However, with my knowledge and with some of the stuff I'm going to show you, I can help you keep an eye out for these things that these companies are trying to do to get you to spend more money, because I fell victim to that and now I can catch it when so you guys are aware. So we're going to go on to this second video right here, credit scores and reports. Same situation. I'll give you guys a few minutes to discuss and I'll ask you for some takeaways once we move on, or once it concludes. This. Okay, cool. So I wrote down on my board here the breakdown of the things that affect your credit score. But if you're not really sure what a credit score is, which is valid if you've not thought about these kind of things yet, totally fine. Let's define what a credit score is. So I'll let you guys discuss in your nearby groups. We need to find a definition that makes sense for what credit score means. Take about 2 minutes, talk with each other. And decide what credit score means to y'all. And I'll ask a couple people, I'll go kind of table groups to give me your definitions so we can all combine them together and we all understand. So put them into your own words what you think a credit score is defined as. Cool. All right. So what are anybody would like to share their definitions of what a credit report is? We'll start with Kaden and then I want to hear from Isaac.
I'm thinking how responsible you are as an American citizen with your finances and paying your bills. And an example would be like this: if you're not responsible paying your bills, your credit score goes down, therefore the interests go up because you're not responsible. But if you pay your bills, you'll be more responsible as a citizen, therefore your credit score is higher because you're more responsible.
Yeah, that's a lot of how credit score really functions. But the biggest thing I was looking for right here is this: how responsible you are with your finances. That's good. Isaac, what did you want to share?
It's like similar to like your school grade.
Yeah. So it's a lot like a school grade based on what what you do like with your assignments and the level of quality you do on those typically results in a higher grade, is what I'm interpreting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the separation of grades, where it's like 35%.
Oh yeah, like tests, quizzes. Perfect. Yeah, that's a really good breakdown too. School grade, and then we're gonna say, we call those as teachers the weights of different assignments equals the different types of what is this? Things that make up a report. Yeah, that's good. Of report. Take one more. Does anybody else want to share what they defined? Omar, is it your hands? Or you just okay, that's okay. Anybody else want to define how they interpret credit score? Because these are all really great definitions so far. You guys are exactly on the right track. Yes.
It's like I think more likely to give you a loan.
Yeah. It does. Your higher credit score does mean the bank is more likely to loan you. So we'll put that as our third definition, is higher score equates to bank loan likeliness. We'll say that. Because there's a lot of different types of bank loans that you can take out. Like me. And I'll rewrite these so that it's not like in notes of my own. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So credit score is a measurement of how responsible you are with money, how responsible you are with your credit card, keeping the balance low, keeping the payments on time, as well as proving to the banks that you can handle their money. Because you are borrowing money from your bank when you use a credit card. We're live, so your phone should be away, please. So you want to prove to the banks that you're worthy. You want to prove to them you can handle their money. It's a responsibility thing. That's why it's a future ready, typically more of an adult skill. Okay, this is good. You guys are doing great. I'm gonna get the third video queued up here, and then I'll introduce you to that CC.1 that I see some of you guys are looking at, and then that will be the remainder of our day in that regard. So let me stop this, go back to modules. We should still be recording. Okay, cool. Go back to modules. We're going to now look at some credit card mistakes and best practices, and we're going to do the same thing we've done here on a different whiteboard because I ran out of space. We'll probably just do it, excuse me, on this one. So credit card mistakes and best practices. It is very easy to make a credit card mistake. Take that from my experience of making credit card mistakes. I haven't used my credit cards in over a year because I have been paying them off for over a year because I really did a number on my credit balance, which is easy to do. So be aware of that possibility. This one's the shortest one. It's only 2 minutes. And then I will do the same thing we'll talk about. Switcheroo in. Let me do some erasing real quick. I took a picture of this so that I can reference it later on. Let's get all this out of the way. And we're going to change credit scores and reports to instead say credit common mistakes. What were some common mistakes that you guys noticed or that really stuck out to you of those different rules that the video outlined? Which ones did you recall making a lot of sense, not making a lot of sense? Just curious which ones kind of stuck out.
I would say spending too much money.
That's definitely a very easy mistake to make. Spending too much is also known as running up a balance. Okay, what other mistakes were you guys, credit mistakes were you guys noticing? What other credit mistakes besides spending too much were you picking up on? Yeah.
There are a lot of like taxes, such as like taking money out of the ATM or going abroad.
You say additional taxes?
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
No,
just that.
no, you can.
Taxes.
Okay, we'll call it additional taxes and fees, definitely, on using credit cards. All right, come on. All right, those are big ones. What else are you guys noticing? Credit card mistakes. Let me change the question, actually. Let me instead, what did you guys, I don't know. I'm trying to think like, because a lot of these mistakes are very specific. It's pretty, it's easy to, when you're looking at it from this lens of like teaching, or if you guys haven't had experience with credit yet, to be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But the temptation, once you have that credit card, to make these mistakes becomes much higher because you have the ability. You have access to something like that in order to make a mistake in this way. I do want to outline, let's keep it at these actually, because these are very common credit card mistakes. And if we think about, I'm almost out of Zoom time here. We'll wrap it up shortly. If you think about looking at the other side here with credit cards 101, these are ways to avoid the very common credit mistakes, because most of them break down to paying your bills on time and then making sure that you have a low APR. And we'll leave it at that. So paying your bills on time is something I cannot say enough about having a credit card. Even if it is not the full balance, the credit bureaus care a little bit more. The banks, the people who loan you this money, they care more about, can you make it on time, even if it's not all the way full, but you made it on time, which proves you've got at least enough money to keep making your payments in that regard. So I'm gonna take a picture of these and add them to the canvas once I kind of put them into words a little bit more. Thank you, appreciate it. They'll go in your thread alongside the Zoom room. But last thing I want to talk about with the remaining couple minutes I have in Zoom here is your assignment. So if you go to announcements, I saw some of you have already started, that is okay. This assignment, this is P2, CC.1, this quiz right here in the modules, or not in the modules, in the thread. In the modules, it's called CC.1 right here, credit card shopping. CC.1 is having you go to NerdWallet and take a quiz on what types of credit cards are best for you. However, if you look in the thread right here, based on some of the things that the school has in place, like the blocking softwares and different classroom management tools, it very, very likely will not work on the school computer. It will work on a personal computer, it will work on a cell phone or other type of mobile device, but anything connected to the school like hard network, like all of the lab computers, it gets stuck. Something goes wrong where it just doesn't work the way it needs to. So what you can do alternatively, we're doing lots of back and forth swapping here, is if you go to your phone and then you Google exactly, let me put it in here, if I could think what it is, NerdWallet credit cards. Then we go to NerdWallet on our mobile devices. This is an exception to the live rule because we are doing them as part of the thing here. So here's your NerdWallet menu. You guys, I wish I could go dark mode. Let me turn my brightness up. Here's NerdWallet. Is it gonna do anything? No, of course not. Great. What about that? There we go. That's it's not very easy to see, but at least you can read it. There is a little up next to the N in the top. There's an expanded menu here. If you go to credit cards and then choose get a card recommendation, it's one of the later ones in the scroll right here. Get a card recommendation. That's going to take you to this quiz sort of menu that's going to ask you some questions based on your credit history. If you don't have credit history or you don't know your credit score, that is totally fine, because most people by default fall into the fair category before they've ever established any type of credit. So you guys are going to select fair, which is a credit score of 630 to 689, because you don't technically start at 0, you start at about the average. Because the banks know you can spend your debit card, which is money you have, and they can tell that you're responsible with that by not overdrawing or keeping some amount in savings. A lot of things that the banks take care of. I'm not a banker. But you want to pick, all of that is to say, you want to pick fair 630 to 689 right here.
So
You'll click next.
yes, so basically they assume your average with finances until they find out that
Yep.
you're good or bad.
Innocent until proven uncreditworthy is basically the banks go. Okay, so this is going to ask you, what do you want to credit for? You can answer that honestly. It can be for travel. It can be pay down debt. A lot of you are going to pick that bottom option. You want to build credit because that's what we're trying to do here. I personally want to pay down debt, so I'm going to select that one. And then I'm going to answer these questions as honestly as possible. Are you looking to pay down a credit card? Yes. Who holds the debt? It's Discover for me. And then if I want that, what kind of reward do I want? When you get to this screen and it asks you to make an account, you do not have to make an account. You can scroll down and then click no, let me see my results underneath continue. And it's going to build you this little credit card recommendations thing. You scroll through, there's going to be a couple different credit cards there, like the Citi Double Cash card. It's going to have a bunch of different information on here about the APR, about the other types of things that you want to be aware of when you're shopping for credit cards. For this assignment, let me go back to screen sharing real quick. Okay, for this assignment, I was taking it in another class. I've been taking this quiz for an entire day, which is pretty sweet. It's going to ask you a couple things about what kind of cards NerdWallet recommends to you. That's going to be the results of your quiz that you get on your phone or on your personal device of some capacity. So it's going to ask you things like the name, the NerdWallet rating is going to be that star, the annual fee, it's probably going to be 0 unless it actually has one. The reward rate might be hard to find. It might be more in the product details section. But if you're looking through this quiz, there's going to be this part on question 2 that says, what is our take? Our take is this very bottom little button in your quiz results right here. If you click on our take, it's going to have a pros and cons for each of the cards that you're looking at the NerdWallet take for. One other thing, there is a, actually, sorry, I have to do all types of switching. There we go. Our take lives on the card recommendations. It is the very bottommost situation right down here, and it's going to have a pros and cons list for each of the cards. There's also a question on the quiz that asks you our top picks. This one right here, it's not an official question. It's just showing you that NerdWallet has a lot of resources for different types of credit cards. You don't have to answer anything for our top picks. Excuse me. And it's going to ask you some of the questions. The first card that you're browsing from those results, same thing, do the our take. Second card you're browsing, explain those results. Our take, pros and cons. And then the question number 7 finally asks, after you've reviewed a couple of cards, why do you want, it wants you to choose one and then explain why you want that specific one. So this is your assignment for the day. I'll be walking around and helping y'all. I'll be posting some different things about the things we've covered in the video takeaways. And any other questions you might be having, feel free to ask. I have 3 credit cards from a couple different lenders with pros and cons for each of them. If you would like my input on those, I'm happy to share it, but I'm also happy to help you just finish up CC.1 by Friday when this is due. Sound good? Sweet. Thank you guys. I know it was a longer lecture than usual. I appreciate you bearing with it. We're going to go off the air. I trust that you're doing CC.1 before you do other things. If you're not, I'll let you know. And thank you guys for listening. Good luck.